Fabulous. Right, we are now recording. So here we are at 2 minutes past the hour. Now, I have to tell you, today's webinar, I've been looking forward to this for months because today's webinar is all about something that can totally change your business. Or if you haven't even started online yet, don't worry, that's no problem at all, because if you have not begun online, if you count yourself as a total newcomer, as indeed I did just a few short years ago, the information we have to share with you is really going to be valuable, because it will allow you, when you do start 100% on the right foot. We're going to talk about how to communicate effectively in today's webinar. And the thing that I'm really excited to share with you is, did you know there is a template, there is a system, and it's only 4 steps. And once we understand these 4 steps, we can apply it to everything that we do online, and it allows us to communicate really effectively. I use this personally in my videos, in what I write on websites, and when you see these 4 steps, you will possibly then go back and maybe, let's say, look at my videos, and you might think, I see what Chris is doing there. He's sticking to this template. It really is an amazing thing. When I learned this, it changed everything for my business. Whether you want to get more sales and make more money, or increase opt-ins and build your list faster, this is an incredible 4-step system. Now, let's just think about this for a second. When somebody comes to our web page, or our website, or your future web page or website if you haven't yet created it, let's just think about this for a moment. Imagine your website, a visitor comes to your site, okay? There's no sales assistants, are there, to show anybody around, nobody to take your visitor by the hand and say to them, look, I want you to go here, buy this, sign up here, do that. The only way that we can instruct our visitor to take the action that we want them to take is by the words that we use, the power of our language. So my question to you is, how do we construct a website to galvanize our visitor into taking the action that we want them to take? We know what we want them to do, don't we? Most of the time it will be either to join our list or to purchase something. So we know what we want a visitor to do, but how do we communicate that message simply, concisely, and effectively? And I remember struggling with this big time when I started. I knew in my head the end result, but I just couldn't get my message out clearly and concisely and succinctly. And then I discovered this 4-step technique that we are going to share with you for free in this webinar, and it changed everything. So let me just quickly check in with you. Let me ask you, are you excited about learning this 4-step technique? I'm just wanting to make sure. And also, can you just let me know that you can hear me okay? And I know I always say this, if you've been on my webinars before, I am very respectful of your time. So we really are going to race through this, and we'll be in and out within 60, 65 minutes or so. Is everybody feeling good? How's the energy? Are we feeling okay? Feeling excited? Just checking in. Getting some great comments here. Okay, terrific. Got a bit of a sore throat today, so excuse me if I'm coughing a little bit. Now, can I also quickly mention something else with you, something to you? As you know, all of us here, we're all totally transparent, and I want to quickly mention one thing. This webinar that you are on right now is 100% free. I say we because I'm about to introduce you to my special guest. We are going to reveal this template, this 4-step system for you, totally free. Well, you can buy products that will reveal this, sure, but you do not have to purchase anything to be introduced to this 4-step template that has changed my business. So it is totally free. But I just want to flag this up at the beginning. I want you to know that at the end of this webinar, we do have something to offer you if you would like. It's totally optional. You certainly don't have to purchase it. If you would like to continue your education in this fascinating subject matter, this is called copywriting, how to communicate effectively, then we do have something to offer you, but it is optional. And I really want to flag this up. This is only for you if you think, do you know what, I quite enjoyed this subject matter. I think I would like to spend a little bit of personal time with Chris and my special guest who I'm about to introduce you to. Then you will have the opportunity to. But you certainly don't have to purchase this. And what we're about to reveal for free in this webinar, you can take and use, no problem at all, without any cost to you. So I just wanted to make that clear at the very beginning. So is that okay with everyone? Are we okay with that? How are we feeling? Everything good? How are we for time as well? Just checking on the time here. Okay. So, without further ado, let me introduce you to my special guest, who's actually a dear friend of mine as well. You may well have heard about him. He's making huge waves on and indeed offline. His name is Kevin Rogers. And this is a picture of Kevin and I when Kevin came to stay with me recently here in Los Angeles. This is just a couple of months ago. Kevin is a copywriter extraordinaire. And just so we're all on the same page, a copywriter means somebody that writes words, that has mastered how to communicate effectively. He is very in demand. He's also very humble, so he'll be embarrassed that I'm saying this about him. His rate is over $1,000 an hour. Can you believe? People pay him over $1,000 an hour simply to write effective web pages. And what he does, he's going to reveal for us for free in this webinar. He consults on how to make effective videos. I personally have employed Kevin's services because, as I'm sure you know from me by now, I only ever like to mention anything if I've actually had first-hand experience. Kevin is also the #1 direct marketing copywriter on ClickBank. That means he's written for many niches, from fitness to finance to internet marketing. He thrives in the most competitive niches. Some of his clients' product launches have made over $5 million in a week, all through the power of having effective words. His real passion, though, is teaching simple copywriting techniques to help businesses of all sizes get more sales, and he loves working with newcomers, revealing how these techniques allow us to start online. I wonder if that's him calling on my phone right now. He's probably saying, Chris, enough with the introduction. I'm getting embarrassed. You'll have to wait, Kevin. I'm on a webinar. So without further ado, I forgot to turn my phone off, as you can tell. Without further ado, I would like to introduce you to my guest presenter on today's webinar. Please could be upstanding a big round of applause for the one and the only, ladies and gentlemen, it's Kevin Rogers! Yay!
Yes, indeed.
The crowd goes
Wow,
wild.
I feel that energy.
Can you feel it? There's a flyby
yeah.
going past. There's a commemorative coin being printed. There's
James
fireworks
Bond
going off.
is falling from the sky. Yes.
We're getting lots of people saying, welcome, Kevin. Many applause, Kevin.
Thank you.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I tell you, I am humbled, honored, and every other appropriate adjective to describe what it's like to be here with you, Chris. You know, I love that photo you put up because, you know, you and I sat down together in June. That's right at the beginning of June, almost 6 months ago.
Wow.
And it's incredible how close we've become. We knew each other a little bit, and it's just been so amazing to become friends and to learn more about each other's businesses. So really honored to be here, and I promise I am going to deliver in a big, big way.
Well, you are. Kevin's spoken at many events that I've put on as well, and many events we've spoken together, and he's always very, as you'll discover over the next 45 minutes or so, you've got a lovely kind of manner, very relaxed tone, very, you know, just a super chap. The funny thing about that photo I'm looking at is I'm wearing that same shirt right now. I think I have one shirt.
I thought you had like 6 of those, and you just rotated.
All the same. So, Kevin, what I'm going to do, and if everybody on the webinar would be so kind to give me a couple of seconds, I'm just going to hand over my screen to you.
Alrighty.
And we're going to make you the presenter. Or can I do that? Yes, I can. So, okay, so let me do that right now. And
let me clear my desktop of all inappropriateness here.
If you don't, those pictures of me, yes, if you don't mind.
That goat is pretty. I have to
And we're about how time-wise, how we've done. I know you're very keen to kind of keep the energy up fast, but how are we for time, do you think?
Well, I'd say I want to reveal this magic 4-sentence formula, and I'd say we're about 20 minutes away from that happening right now.
So 20 minutes until this kind of this template, as I keep calling it, that once I understood this and once I implemented it in my business, it changed everything. So you're going to reveal this in 20 minutes.
That's right.
I'm going to time you. All right then. Well,
I accept your challenge.
Mr. Rogers, I shall hand the baton over to you. I'm still going to be here, everyone. But Kevin, let's talk about, how to become an effective communicator. Take it away, Mr. Rogers.
Thank you, sir. Now, I just want to be sure everybody can see my screen now.
If you want to type in the questions window, if you can see Kevin's screen.
You've
Just
seen
make sure.
the magic 4-sentence formula that
Fabulous.
practically hypnotizes people into doing exactly what you want them to do. That's what everybody sees. Okay, great.
Yes, everyone can see.
And now I know this sounds like a big claim, but I assure you by the end of this webinar, this training today, this will be backed up. You will not see this as hyperbole by the end. So let's talk about what this little formula is going to do for you. It's more than just copywriting. Chris, you know, I like to, my new mission in life is to sort of trick people into writing copy while having fun.
Nice.
Because people bring a lot of baggage to this concept of writing copy. You know what? The reason that is, it's that word writing that screws everybody up. And so what I try to tell people, what I teach is that there's really no writing involved when it comes to selling your product or yourself. It's just taking what's already in your head and presenting it in the correct way. That's all it is. You don't have to come up with, you don't have to learn, you know, NLP or some deep psychological science. You just have to be very clear.
I'm so glad to hear that, because so many people when I started would say things like, you know, you need to say this here and you need to do that there. And I was like, really?
Yeah.
I don't think, didn't feel right.
Yeah. You have to foreshadow with secret words and plant seeds and oh my goodness, no, it's look, there's a term that I love that Dr. Flint McLaughlin uses all the time, and he says that clarity trumps persuasion. And I love that phrase.
Beautiful.
Because it's so true, and it takes a lot of pressure off the idea of being compelling with your sales message. So here's what this formula is going to do for you. It's going to provide you an ultimate clarity. And what I mean by that is not only allow you to be clear about what you're offering people, but if you've yet to get started online and you're sort of you know, feeling like you're in a maze and there's a million ways to turn and you're not sure exactly what to do or what to sell or how to make money, it's going to, by going through this formula and discovering your own story and how to present it, that is going to give you a lot of clarity on the kind of markets, the kind of products or services that you're going to be best at selling, because you're going to get to know yourself and how to connect with people. So that's a big, big bonus right there. This formula will also cure your information overload for the reason I just stated, and it will define your perfect sales message. And this is a message that you'll not only use on your sales page, in your sales videos, but face-to-face when you network and meet people at conferences and seminars. You know, have you ever been at a seminar or something and somebody says, "What do you do?" and you sit there and you sort of stammer and you feel like an idiot, and they kind of your eyes glaze over and you feel like, well, that was a wasted opportunity. Well, this same formula is exactly what you'll tell people in a very conversational tone, not like a robot, not like a walking business card, but in a very personal way that will make them remember you, bond with you, and know exactly what it is you do and how they could use your services. Okay? Nice.
Okay. By the way, everyone's chomping to get this thing in 20 minutes, so you're down to 18 minutes until we reveal this formula.
As you mentioned, Chris, you use this in your videos.
Yes.
The same formula is used in national television campaigns like Weight Watchers. I'm going to show you how Ryan Lee, our good friend Ryan Lee, uses this all the time in everything he writes, like his blog posts. And I'm going to show you that it's so easy that even my dog Jessie, who's sleeping a foot from me right now.
Hello, Jessie.
Actually uses this formula herself with her marketing.
Does she write, Jessie? That's amazing.
Oh yeah, she's fantastic.
Wow.
It's hard to read, but she speaks very well. So quickly, if you'll indulge me, just 1 minute, Chris. I just want to make sure everybody feels like they know me a little bit.
Of course.
If I could show just one old picture of myself.
Brilliant. You haven't changed much.
That's me in around 1969, but
wow.
Actually that's older than I meant to go. Okay, this is more appropriate. This is me in my 20s. I was a stand-up comedian. That's me, a hippie comedian, driving my old bunker around the country. I had enough money in my pocket to get to the next gig, and I'd never been happier in my life.
Wow.
I was able to work with comics who were not famous then, like Chris Rock and Louis C.K. and Zach Galifianakis from the Hangover movies. These are all guys that I toured around and performed with, and all were brilliant then and even more brilliant now and have all gone on to amazing careers. So this is relevant because it not only tells you a little bit about me and where I come from, but the formula I'm going to teach you today is something I used as a stand-up comedian, and I assure you that you've seen many stand-up comedians use it, and I didn't realize at the time what a powerful marketing hook it would become later.
Wow.
So let me just quickly point out that how these sort of worlds collide, stand-up comedy and marketing. Here's why this was great training, because these are three really crucial issues we need to accomplish. We need to, get attention, make a connection, and inspire action, right? That's our job as marketers. So in stand-up, you've got about 10 seconds by the time you hit the stage to let a crowd know who you are, where you're coming from, and why they should continue to sit quietly and listen to you. In marketing, we've got about 5 seconds, only half that.
Wow.
In stand-up, when you're trying to make a connection, you have to cast a wide net because there's a lot of different people coming to the club, right? So you look for the things that they have in common, the town they live in, things like that. But in marketing, we want to be more targeted than that, right? It's all about targeted traffic. And in stand-up, the action we want, of course, is applause. And in marketing, it's money, as my good friend John Carlton says. In marketing, money is applause. It's a great line.
That's a fascinating parallel universe, actually.
Yeah, I didn't really put it together until John sort of forced me. He said, there's too much good stuff there. And the more I began to look at it, the more amazing it was. And it's really been a great way to learn myself and to help people.
By the way, everyone, 14 minutes until Kevin reveals this formula.
14 minutes. Here we go. So 3 keys to making a big and lasting impression. Storytelling is the easiest and most effective form of persuasion. I'm going to show you why that is. I'm going to explain to you how to use your own stories to sell more without being all salesy. This is the great thing about using stories, is because they break down people's defenses, and it's, again, a natural thing for you to be sharing with somebody because it's a true thing. It's your real story, or it's somebody else's true story. You don't even have to be out in front of it. It doesn't have to be your stuff, but you may use testimonials for a product. But the point is, stories break down the natural defenses and keep you from feeling like a used car salesman all of a sudden. And then, of course, I'm going to reveal this formula here in about 13 and a half minutes.
Woohoo!
So let's talk about why story matters, Chris.
Go on then.
Here's why. It's because story is how we relate, right? Think about that. Just what, not an hour ago, Chris, you sent me a Voxer message. I hope you don't mind me sharing this, but
not at all.
You said to me, I wish I could play it. You were out walking the dogs, and there was some incident with the poop bag,
yep.
And I believe it was leaking out, and so you're describing this action for me, that you've got a poop bag in your hand, it's busted open, it's leaking everywhere, while you're voxing me with the other hand.
Yes, that's absolutely true.
And as a dog owner myself, I've been in that situation where it always seems like when you have the bag in your hand, you always encounter the one person in the neighborhood you want to look cool in front of, right?
Totally.
So that's just a tiny little example of how stories help us relate. Stories are how we retain information. Think about if you've ever seen a really great sales video. What do you take away from it? If you go and tell somebody else about it, what is it you repeat? It's the story, right? It's the story of the product or the person. Little details that make us feel close to things, and those are the things we remember. Chris, when people first encountered you, I'm sure the things they retained were that you live out there in Beverly Hills because you're always showing different things. You talk about celebrities you run into at stop signs, things like that. It's all these little stories that help us retain information and feel closer to people. And stories are how and why we reciprocate, because what are the best times that you spend out at a pub or something? It's all about sharing stories. This happened to you, this happened to me. It's about, that's how relationships grow. So,
do you know what, Kevin, that's fascinating you say that, because on that note, again, we've been totally transparent in this webinar. at our support desk, we get just as many emails about, okay, maybe not just as many, I shouldn't say that, but certainly a lot of emails about things like, how is Mr. Stevens, one of my dogs, as we will about how to create a WordPress website. So my point being, it's interesting, isn't it, how we all in life connect with people through the stories that they tell, because people become three-dimensional.
Exactly right. Yeah, it comes down to that know, like, trust, which we're going to get to in a minute. It's those details, the fact that I mean, if someone has a dog, or especially if they have a Maltese, it's an instant bond there, right?
Yes, totally.
But also you're married, and Frida is an actress, and she writes scripts and all these things, and you share these things. So it's a great point, and
I've got a really bad 1980s haircut.
Yeah, your Bono phase is close to everybody's heart.
I'm 4'2".
Sunday Bloody Sunday. All right, so here's a great example of why story is so critical. One of my guilty pleasures is a show called The Next Food Network Star. Raise your hand out there if you're familiar with the Food Network, and it's a cooking channel, and they hold this great show where people come on and audition to be the next celebrity. Guy Fieri came from that show and has gone on to be a big star. So this girl's name is Emily. She was a front runner last season to win her own show on the Food Network. What's interesting about this show is, of course, you have to be a great chef just to qualify to be on the show. I mean, obviously, you have to know food inside and out. But what's interesting is about halfway through the season, they really start to hammer people, the judges, about sharing details and being more personable and opening up. So for the exact reasons you're saying, Chris, so that people can feel close to them and have a way to relate to them outside of just the food. So this girl, Emily, look at her. I mean, she has this perfect look. Her style was, she called it retro rad, and she would cook all these really cool sort of homespun dishes from the 50s, and she really played the part well.
Wow.
But when it came, they started to push her about revealing more of herself and more of her history, and for some reason she flat out refused to do that. She just wasn't comfortable opening up, and you knew that within a matter of weeks she would be doomed, and sure enough, 2 weeks later she was off the show. This fellow right here is named Justin, and he won the show and had the exact opposite experience. He was a little closed up at first, and then he started to really let loose and embrace his history. Talked about his father, who had sadly passed on, and that whenever he cooks, he feels close to his father, and how he came to own this restaurant in New York. And as the weeks went on, you really felt close to this guy, and sure enough, he was the one to win the show. So
wow.
Even when there's another, authority mechanism out front, food in this case, culinary arts, personality is still what wins the day. There's a lot of people who could probably make doilies better than Martha Stewart, but something about Martha Stewart allowed her to, win audiences over and be memorable and relatable. So that's why that works. So we're getting very close to the formula now. How's our time, Chris?
The formula should be revealed we're meant to be at 32, so in about 8 minutes. How are you for time there?
We're going to get there.
Okay, perfect.
So here is your first glimpse at the formula, and it's amazingly simple. Now, going back to the stand-up days, I promised you that you've seen this joke formula in action, and I'm going to show it to you right now. And here's how it goes for stand-up comedians. It goes like this: identity, struggle, discovery, surprise. You know how comedians are always putting a little twist on their stories, and that's what makes them funny, right? So the identity is simply stating who you are. Struggle is something you're struggling against. Discovery is something you discovered to help you past that hurdle. And then the surprise is what you found on the other side. So I call this the persona joke formula because, as a side note, as a stand-up comedian, the biggest break you could get is one of the late-night TV shows, Letterman, Leno. And when you see comics on those shows, if they, I promise you, they're going to open with their best persona establishing joke. because that's what it's all about for them. They are trying to make a connection with an audience. And I'll give you a great example of when this works best. Ray Romano came on Letterman and was so definable that Letterman immediately signed him to a contract and went on to produce his show, Everybody Loves Raymond.
Gosh.
So understand that Letterman and Leno are looking for talent for that reason. They want to create a star. Okay, so here's that joke formula in action. Here's my opening joke for a while when I was a comedian. I would walk up on stage looking like that, and I would say, "Hey, nice town you've got here." There's not much to do, though. I was so bored today, ended up at the police auction. They had some great deals. I bought my bong pack for $10. So people would immediately get that, okay, the hair, the clothes, he's definitely this sort of stoner persona.
Bit of a hippie kind of character.
Right. So it would really pay off. It would get a little laugh. It would put them at ease. Here's a great one from the Letterman show, this comedian called Karen Runtowski. I love this joke. She says, "My kids were so bad in Walmart today, I pulled a fly swatter off the shelf and beat them with it. And the second the fly swatter hit their ass, I thought, I don't have kids."
That's great. That's great. I'm finding this fascinating because this is fitting into that 4-step formula that you just mentioned.
Right. And that was her opening joke on Letterman, and it got her a lot of attention. So you see quickly, so the identity is she's a mother at kids, mother with kids. The struggle is they're being bad in Walmart. The discovery is the fly swatter, and the surprise is I don't have kids.
Wow.
So that's it. That's simple. Okay.
That's so interesting. Seeing a joke fit into that format. Identity, struggle, discovery, surprise.
Yep. And now that you have that, write that down and watch for it.
I've done it. I've written it down here.
Yeah, and you'll see it all the time. So how do we apply this formula to internet marketing? How does this help us? Okay, so, well, it's all about what is your story, right? And it's not real hard. Again, you saw how simple it is. It doesn't have to be complicated. So where are you from? Who or what is important to you? And which subjects do people consider you an expert in? And Chris, quickly, I want to reach out to everyone listening here with us and say that we'd love to maybe use a live example at the end of the training today.
Wow. And grab someone live on the webinar.
Yeah, if that's okay with you. What I'd like everyone out there to do is start thinking about their story as it might apply to a product they want to promote or service they offer, and start thinking of it in the context. And we're going to pick somebody, and I'd like to walk them through live.
Oh, how exciting. I'd love to.
Give them the gift of this KLT. Okay.
So if I could just jump in over. So what we'll do is in about half an hour, we'll pick someone live. And if you'd like Kevin to kind of basically create your KLT, Kevin calls it, Know, Like, and Trust story, we'll do that in about half an hour. Can I quickly ask you, Kevin, I don't want to throw you a curveball here. You're saying here, which subjects do people consider you an expert in? What would you say, and forgive me if I'm jumping ahead, what would you say if somebody, because I know when I started, I didn't count myself an expert in anything. So what would you say if somebody says, well, I don't know what I am an expert in? What would you advise there?
Yeah,
or are you answering this later? I don't know.
No, it's actually a perfect time to address that, because that is, again, sort of the #1 hang-up. You know what I find? I tell you, Chris, people, as you know, clients pay me, often ridiculous fees. I certainly earn it for them, but it still stuns me sometimes that people will pay me up to $40,000 to create a marketing campaign for them.
Wow.
And I should mention that's along with my writing partner, Ben Johnson, who's just a brilliant copywriter. We work on these things together. But what's interesting about it, and people pay me $1,000 an hour to consult on very focused issues, and the #1 issue that even superstar marketers come to me with is, how do I present this product, and how do I resonate with the audience? And the reason that becomes such a problem is because people are A, too close to their products, and B, they're not allowing themselves to pose as an expert in a certain subject. And that's particularly hard for new people. If they're just coming into internet marketing, they feel like a little awkward, and they're just not sure they got the language down. But if you think about it, all you have to be considered an expert is to know about 20% more on a subject than the person you're teaching, because there's all different levels of learning as we go through life, right? I mean, Chris, you're relatively new at this internet marketing thing, even though you're a superstar. I mean, what's it been, 5 years, right? So,
2008, yeah, so 5 next year.
so you can clearly remember wondering what it is you're an expert in.
Oh, gosh, big time, big time.
And there's people, of course, still that you learn from every day.
Absolutely.
But it doesn't stop you from teaching what you know. And as you stated, you only teach what you've actually applied yourself. So
Very true.
if people will allow themselves to look at what it is they have accomplished and what they have learned, I promise there's somebody who needs to know that. Even if there are people with us today who really just haven't even made their first dime online yet or haven't started a campaign, I bet they've sat at a party or somewhere with people or talked to relatives, and they'll mention that they've been studying this internet marketing, and they'll be curious and they'll say, well, how does that work? How does anybody make money online? And they'll start to explain 2 or 3 methods that they've learned about just by reading emails and watching videos. And, well, in that instance, you're an absolute expert.
Yeah, good answer. I hear you.
I mean, you can feel the energy rise. They get excited.
Sure.
They're interested, right? That's all it really means to be an expert. And, think about any scenario. I mean, look, sometimes we become unwilling experts. If you've ever filed bankruptcy, then you are an expert on how to live, debt-free. That's sort of a...
Yes, I hear you.
Right? If you've ever had a medical condition, you are now an expert on that condition. And anybody else, if you have been through a divorce and you have a friend who is struggling in their marriage, who are they going to come to?
It's funny you say this, Kevin, because, sorry, I'm looking at some of the questions. Dino, hello Dino, he said he dropped his blood sugar level to normal in 21 days, no more diabetes. So how powerful will that be to the huge amount of people that have that? Someone's expert in EFT tapping, martial arts instructor in Mexico. We're getting lots of... So, yes, it's interesting, your answer on this.
That's good. I'm glad people are thinking about it, because when you see, what I've done is I've just given them permission to feel like to recognize their own expertise, and it could be the subtlest thing in the world. And again, I'm going to prove this to you when I show you my dog's KLT.
Okay.
So you'll see how you. So I hope that answers your question, Chris, and I'm glad you brought it up. Everybody listening today is an expert in at least one thing. Probably several things that people would gladly pay them to learn.
We're actually getting some amazing in the questions here, people that survived heart transplants and incredible examples. So thank you for really kind of laser focusing in on that. Okay.
Okay, so moving on so I can hit my mark. Here it is. Boom.
Is this it?
This is it. Did I make the time?
You were 3 minutes over, but that's fine.
All right, fair enough.
Perfect.
Okay, so here it is. This is how simple it is. And I purposely introduced it to you with something you're familiar with, which is stand-up comedy, because this is how subtle the change is. You see, it's just that last one.
Can I just interrupt you again and ask you, what does KLT mean at the beginning here?
Oh, I'm sorry. Know, like, and trust.
Okay.
And we'll get to in just a minute why I call it that. Because basically, in a nutshell, sharing your story is how people relate to you, feel like they know you, like you, and trust you. Like we talked about in your example, Chris, the fact that you reveal all these little details are why people know, like, and trust you.
Okay.
So when people share their stories, that's what they'll be creating with people they encounter. Know, like, and trust. That is that sort of seemingly intangible factor that makes the difference between people who really make it big online and people who don't.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
So the only difference between the formulas that I used to use as a stand-up comic and I apply all the time for marketers now is result. It's identity, struggle, discovery, and then result. So what's great about that is it takes any pressure you may have felt to be funny or to be witty or to have to come up with some sort of twist on your story that comedians do. That's sort of what they get paid for. It's that little X factor, right? that ability to think a little sideways and put a twist on things that makes them qualify as comedians. But in our life, all we have to do as marketers to be experts is share the results that we've gotten or other people have gotten with our product or service to convince people that it's really effective. It's not about surprising anybody. It's about assuring them that what you have really works.
Now, we're going to be looking at some examples, I'm sure, a bit later.
Yep.
Of exactly how this applies. But when I learned this, and you were the one that introduced this to me, I lace this into all my videos, with starting by an identity, a struggle, what I discovered, and then the result. And it's amazing when you understand this simple 4-step formula, how then you will see other people use it. You think, gosh, I see what they're doing here. They're starting off their video by identifying themselves, then they're going on to a struggle, right. Then they're doing some sort of discovery, and then they're doing some sort of result. And it's incredible to see this formula applied to sales pages, to videos. And once I understood this was a huge, huge light bulb moment for me, a huge learning curve.
Yeah, and the beauty of it is it applies in so many ways. Again, I'll show you how Ryan Lee uses it in a simple blog post. You'll see this in multi-million-dollar television advertising campaigns. You know, when Weight Watchers signed Jessica Simpson, paid her $4 million to lose weight with Weight Watchers, this is the formula they turn to because it's so proven over time to work. Wow. They weren't going to take any chances with a campaign that big. Ford uses this, and I'm going to show people where they can see these exact videos I'm talking about, these commercials. So let's get right into an example right now. I'll give you the one I know best, and that's my own. Okay. So I'm going to walk you right through this. Let me read this to you, and then I'll walk you right through this. So here's mine. I'm Kevin Rogers. I spent years as a dead broke stand-up comedian until I discovered how a simple joke formula can be used as an irresistible sales hook and began teaching marketers how to use it to skyrocket sales and grow their businesses. Now I'm one of the most in-demand sales consultants online, earning more in 1 month than I once did in an entire year, which is very true. I used to earn about $7,000 to $9,000 a year as a stand-up comic.
Wow.
So that is my whole KLT. My identity is I am Kevin Rogers. My struggle is I spent years as a dead broke stand-up comedian. That's all you need. The discovery is that this simple joke formula can be turned into a sales hook like I'm teaching you right now. And the result is I'm now one of the most in-demand sales consultants online, earning a bunch of money and working with great people. And that is it. It's that simple. You see it fits on one page. It usually takes about 30 seconds to get this message across. And I promise you, stated just this simply, people will never forget you once they hear it.
Wow.
60 seconds or less. So, again, to sort of unpack know, like, and trust here, to get people to know you, you just have to reveal yourself in a relatable way. To win like, you have to win respect with authenticity. And doesn't that relieve pressure? You don't have to be anything you're not. You don't have to, come across as anything other than yourself. If you're dull, be dull. If you're funny, be funny. If you're, whatever you are, be that. And people will respond a lot more to your authenticity than they will any, seeming.
Totally. Of course. Yeah.
Isn't it terrible when you read like really corporate, like style, sales copy or somebody's mission statement, and it's this like long paragraph, and you go, I don't know what I just read. Like,
yeah, yes.
I don't know. I don't remember a word of that. That's when people are not being authentic. Then you look at a company like Zappos or the guys at AppSumo, pardon me, and they're nothing but authentic, and it really resonates. Trust is sharing your struggles and your secrets. That's why we trust people. Chris, when you come on your video and you say, my biggest struggle when I first started was information overload.
That's a frighteningly good impression of me.
Good man. I'll be trouble you for just 1 minute. I hate to ask. Thank you ever so much.
Very good.
So when you describe that, people instantly, they go, yes, he gets it, he understands. And that's just you being authentic and telling the truth, and people say, I found my guy who's going to take me to the promised land.
Can I just add to this as well, Kay, if it's no trouble?
Sure.
This reminds me of, this always sticks in my mind. About 2.5 years ago, I met this lovely lady called Julie, who is 50, and I remember her saying to me, she said, Chris, my name's Julie, I'm 50, I'm divorced, and I've got 3 kids. Why would anybody be remotely interested in me? And we communicated for a bit, and my answer was, Julie, and I've actually mentioned this before, forgive me if you heard me tell this anecdote, but I said, Julie, because you're 50, divorced, and got 3 kids, suddenly you are real. And you're talking about the no here. You suddenly revealed yourself in a relatable way. How relatable is that if she made a video, let's say, introducing herself at her site, saying, hi, my name's Julie, I'm 50, I'm divorced, I've got 3 kids, I want to welcome you to my site. Boom! Suddenly, you're this 3-dimensional real person. And this is why people like us, me, you, everyone on this call, this is why we can compete with the Microsofts, with the Apples of the world. We're never going to have their deep pockets, but what we can do, the playing field has now been leveled in terms of marketing, because social media and obviously the World Wide Web allows us to compete at that level, because we can have this know, like, and trust factor that multi-billion, multi-million-dollar corporations can't. And that's why, you know, the average person like myself is having a full-time living online, because we are not afraid, after maybe a bit of, you know, at first getting over that fear, of actually implementing this. So I just wanted to quickly share that I know exactly what you're saying about how important this element of knowing and revealing yourself in a relatable way is.
Yeah, that's an excellent example of it. Excellent example. And, you know, you mentioned about the big corporations. I bet everybody's noticed that they're trying to come our way now.
I know, aren't they? That's so interesting.
Yeah, they're trying to figure out how to resonate on social media, and it's very clunky because they're working backwards. So we actually have a very big advantage right now.
Yeah, totally. And if you care, if you like people, if you care about people, you know, caring is the new currency. It really is. And being relatable and being engaged and just being a real person, that's where everything is going. Kevin and I have been speaking this week about, in 2013, we think personality marketing. That doesn't mean you have to be crazy and wacky and tell jokes. It just means you just have to be real. Just a real person, and everybody is unique. Everybody, and that's why it's so exciting. If you know, grasp these 4 steps and then use that for your web business, the results are just dramatic. They really are.
Yeah, it's very exciting, and it just feels good. It's like when you put up a really good Facebook post and you get a bunch of comments and people liking it. You think, oh, I really nailed it right there. I really got across who I am, and it connected to people. This is what it feels like when you market with this KLT formula. So if I can, Chris, here's Ryan Lee's website.
Okay.
Our good friend Ryan Lee, who, again, is a guy who has a lot of KLT, as I call it. People really feel like they know him, they like him, they absolutely trust him. You know, this is a guy who only gets better, you know, year after year, month after month. He blows my mind.
Yeah. Look
what Ryan does in a recent blog post. Now, I just want to point out that I brought this up to Ryan, and he had absolutely, this is not him using a formula whatsoever. So the point is, just by him being natural and authentic, look how much KLT he gets across here. This blog post is about how he doesn't work long days. You know, forget 12 to 15-hour days. He works in short bursts and then recharges his batteries. He talks about, and then he dashes off a bunch of ways that he rewards himself. And within there's a bunch of KLT. So quickly, just to point out a few, he goes to the movies by himself in the afternoon. He wrestles with his kids.
I love doing that, by the way, can I say?
Oh,
in fact, let's just quickly, has anybody ever been to the movie by themselves in the afternoon? Do you want to type in the question window if you have? There's something, it feels a bit almost naughty, doesn't it? It feels like, you know, we shouldn't be here getting a popcorn on your own. I don't know why. Yeah. It's really exciting. It's like, and even better than that, have you ever been to a movie like at 10 in the morning?
Oh, man.
It's like insane.
You know, a few weeks ago, my friend Ben and Dean and I saw 2 matinees in 1 week, and I thought
Heaven.
Any minute. somebody was going to break down the door and take me away. I still feel like I'm cheating life when I get to do that.
That's hilarious. I don't know why it is. We're all like, yeah, it's very funny. And also on that note, do you remember like when we were like 18, 17, 18, you'd never admit going to the movies on your own, would you? It's like the uncoolest thing ever. And now like we're like, I love it. It's funny how we change as we get older.
That's a good point. Yeah, totally. So, he talks about wrestling with his kids, which is something I can certainly relate to. He talks about doing sprints at the track and quickly teaches that that's the most effective fat-burning exercise on the planet. I love this one. He gets a professional straight razor shave.
Wow.
Which is interesting on its own, but then he takes it a step further and says, there's nothing like it, and G. Albert in my town of New Canaan is the best. I mean, talk about some identity right there. I can picture him in the chair with the towel around his neck and Big G. Albert standing there, right?
That's so true. So can I. You can see this guy giving him a shave. I've no idea who G. Albert is, but you're right. I can picture this guy.
Right. It's
wow.
that simple.
That's so clever.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I pointed this out to Ryan. He's like, yeah, I guess so.
He's like really dismissive.
He's just being himself, I mean, he loves this stuff, but, he's not doing it on purpose. So anyway, as you can see, talks about the sauna and avoiding contact with the naked old guys and all this stuff. So great examples of how I just wanted to point out that it does not need to be complicated at all.
Can I also add to this, Kay, if I may, very quickly? This reminds me of in Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. He talks about specific information being better than general information. He gives the example why a brain surgeon gets paid 50 times more than a normal surgeon, let's say. And nothing, of course, wrong with a normal surgeon, but a brain surgeon is more specific. And what I'm seeing here is, the specific takeaways. We're talking about the guy that does the shave. We talked about going to a movie in the afternoon, the specific details that make you feel as if I really do know this person as a result of him being specific.
Right. Absolutely. And, like, for instance, this one that says, head over to frozen yogurt shop for a treat. Well, I do that all the time, and I think the next time I went for yogurt, I thought of Ryan.
Wow. Yes.
His kid,
Yeah.
It's 10 words, but it's that connection. So incredibly powerful and really this simple. That's the thing I can't stress enough, that it's just this simple. Okay, so let's talk about how there is a story for any niche.
Did you do that for the English amongst us?
You know what? I always want to say, niche is how I say it, because that's not. But when people say niche, it just sounds so much sexier. But when I say niche, it sounds very forced. So I default back to niche. But
okay,
I did. I said
thank
niche.
you.
So check it out. I'm going to show you a couple of KLTs that you've already seen the one I use for my copywriting business. Let me show you a couple more from other areas of my life that have nothing to do with my history as a stand-up comedian. Here's one I could use for the natural health niche. Hi, I'm Kevin Rogers. 6 years ago, a blood infection I contracted during a routine dental cleaning left me minutes from death. A heart surgeon saved my life, but the post-recovery medications were killing me all over again. Then I discovered a natural solution that has helped me get into peak condition and rid myself of dangerous and expensive prescriptions forever.
This is true.
This is 100% true. And
gosh.
Again, so nothing funny about it. No need for me to mention stand-up comedy or marketing or anything. But absolutely, again, just applied to the simple formula, you can see how that would resonate.
Well, let's look at that. So that's the 4 steps. Sorry. So just like I'm keen to see the identity was I'm Kevin Rogers. The struggle was the blood infection.
Yeah.
The discovery was you discovered a natural solution. And the result was that rid yourself of dangerous and expensive prescriptions forever. So you've simply applied the KRT formula to, okay.
Yep, literally, in this case, only 3 sentences, usually 3 to 4 sentences. So let's something a little more lighthearted. I a year ago became a dog owner for the first time. And so here's my dog training KLT. Hi, I'm Kevin Rogers. As a first-time dog owner, I was sure I'd done all the research I needed to before we brought home Jessie. But 2 ruined carpets, 6 pairs of chewed shoes, and 1 crying neighbor child later, I discovered there's a secret to training puppies that most books and articles never even hint at. 2 weeks after learning this amazing secret, Jessie is the pride of our family and the envy of the dog park.
Very nice. Very nicely written.
Thank you. And that's it. And then, so of course, after that, you would then add a call to action and tell people to opt in for your free report or to buy your product. Or
wow. Yeah, sorry. I should mute myself when I get excited here.
So there you have it. And now, Chris, as you mentioned, if I don't know if you want to take any questions or anything, we're going to, bring somebody on in just a few minutes here. I've also promised to show Jessie's KLT, which I think people are really going to like. Everybody loves this. It's cute and shows the simplicity of it. But quickly, I wanted to talk about the product we wanted to offer.
Let me just, if I may just jump in for a second, Kevin. Yes, so again, Kevin and I, we always wrestle about this. So as I mentioned at the beginning of this webinar, we are going to, if you're interested, this is optional. I can't clarify this enough. There's nothing worse, I feel, than a webinar where you just know all the time they're trying to sell something. When I started, and even now I've been on those all the time, most of my webinars are just content and I don't have anything to sell. But here's the thing. We have been asked an awful lot about copywriting, how to communicate effectively. It really is probably I wouldn't even say probably, the number one skill that since I learned and I applied has made a huge difference to my business. So we do have something to offer you if you're interested. You certainly do not have to purchase this because the KLT formula that Kevin has shared for free, you can apply, you don't need to purchase anything, and that's great, and there's no problem with that at all. But we do have something that will, if you're interested in spending a bit more time with Kevin and I, we're doing something that we've never done before, and what we'd like to do is spend maybe just 10 minutes now telling you what this is, and then let's do that. After 10 minutes, we'll begin to wrap up the webinar, and then let's maybe look at Jessie's, your dog's KLT, and then let's grab somebody online live. We don't know who that is yet. I'm Jeff and Greg, I know very kindly, are looking for somebody that wants to come on live, and then we'll do a KLT live. So, so allow us just to present what we have for you if you're interested.
Yes, and if they'd like as well, I'd be happy to supply these slides too, just to bring home the point that.
Yes, I'm seeing a few questions about that. Thank you, Kevin.
Yeah, I'd be happy to, just so that everybody. I love seeing people apply this KLT, and yeah, I'm happy to get it in people's hands for absolutely free. But if you are interested in learning more about this, and it's not just about learning more about what I'm teaching today, it's sort of about where to take it after that. Okay, great. You've got your KLT message. You've got this amazing tool. Now, where do you apply it? Exactly how do you apply it in social media? How do you use it to drive traffic? How do you actually take the attention you get with it, the traffic you get from it, and turn that into money? We want to answer all of those things for you. So Chris and I put our heads together, and we came up with an outline to do 2 live trainings. We're going to do these early next year to give you plenty of time to get your KLT together and then take it to the next level. So on these 2 live webinars, which of course we will record, you'll gain perfect clarity for internet success, as we talked about. You'll create your unforgettable sales message. You'll learn how to generate free targeted traffic. You'll also learn how to deliver massive value every time you create something, whether it's a blog post, whether it's a free report, whether it's a simple product, whether it's a coaching series, whatever you are creating and selling to folks. We have a very specific outline that Chris and I both use in our businesses to make sure, part of it is the 5 golden rules for delivering massive value every time. And it really takes the pressure off of that little voice in the back of your head that says, am I giving people enough? Am I giving them exactly what they need? And then we're going to tell you, now once you've built up all that goodwill, how to generate life-changing paydays. And again, I don't say that to be hyperbolic. It really, as you know, Chris, after a couple years in internet marketing, had $1 million day of sales. I make more money now than I ever dreamed possible on my own terms. I help clients all the time make as Chris mentioned, up to $5 million in sales in a week. This is stuff that really works. It's really powerful. And once you have it, it really sort of sets the path for where you'll go from here. And what else is great about it, Chris, I should mention, is that this is, again, people come to me all the time to solve this problem for them. Who am I? How do I present this? How do I resonate with people? If you have that...
So that was George agreeing with you.
I love George.
Yes, George. He's getting excited, aren't you, Georgie boy? Yeah, I know, George. I know. He can't wait. He's excited. Off you go, Georgie.
It's a good thing I have headphones on, and my dog would be barking back at George. They can take over completely.
We'll get you a few hello Georges in the questions now. Hello, George. Sorry, Kate.
So, that's okay. So that is what we're going to help you learn all these steps on these 2 live trainings, and plus you're going to get instant access to the full KLT training that I have in a members area, which has all the templates we're talking about here, quick start guides, full video trainings, the examples. I take these commercials I talked about, the Weight Watchers one and the Ford commercial, and I break down exactly how they're using the formula. Lots of really helpful, plus a bunch of bonus training in there as well. So if I could, Chris, can I just show people what that's like?
Yes, of course.
KLT?
And as I say, I'm very aware this is an offer, and it's not going to be for everybody if you don't want to, and that's fine. We just want to quickly present this to you because I'm a member of this site, and the examples and the breakdowns. Even if you're not interested in growing a business, I find it fascinating, absolutely fascinating, how there is this formula that is applied to comedy, to adverts, to sales messages, to sales pages, to videos, that once you understand this formula, you see it in every successful marketing campaign. And one of the benefits of this membership site that you'll have access to is you actually break down the videos, don't you, Kevin, and explain, look what happened there, and look what they're doing here. And it's like, wow, that's so interesting.
Yeah, and it really helps people to frame their own message. And like you say, it's sort of like having these super goggles that allow you to see why things are so effective. If you've ever wondered, why the heck am I responding to this sales video or this, it seems so simple. Why am I buying this thing? I like to point out exactly sort of the subtle persuasion that people are up to. And once you know it and recognize it, you can use it, again, not to be manipulative, but to help get your authenticity across to people and inspire them to take action. Because it's great to be putting out great content all the time and helping people, but if you don't turn that into money, then you're not truly succeeding as an internet marketer. This is a business after all, and there's no reason you shouldn't be getting paid for what you do. So here's the members area I call it the 60-second sales hook, and this is the special KLT formula unleashed, we're calling it. And so you'll see that there's the training right here, the bonus templates, basic layout training. My technical partner Zach Swinehart made some videos on exactly how to apply all these tactics to a squeeze page, step by step, so you know exactly how to put your KLT, whether it's in text or video, on a sales page. Advanced layout training if you need that. This is KLT in action videos where I talked about these commercials. I've got some extra training in there called the Rhythm of Good Copy, where I use a James Brown song to point out rhythms of copy, all kinds of fun stuff in here. And here's my favorite part, Chris. If anybody who wants to join us and come in and do the training, of course, take action and fill out your KLT, I'd love for you to post it inside the KLT feedback section. And as you can see, I love to come in here and polish up your KLTs, give you a little kudos. If I think I can improve on it in any way, I often will do that. I can't promise to get to all of them, of course, but I love to do this for people. Come in. I read every one of these because they're endlessly fascinating to me. So if you join us, then please post up your KLT so that I can critique it for you.
So access to this KLT training is just one of the one of the three things that we're offering. So just to clarify, you will get access to this free training that we just logged into there, and also two exclusive webinars that Kevin and I are hosting, and we're going to be doing those in January, just after Christmas. I think everybody knew that January was just after Christmas. I don't know why I needed to clarify that. Just in case you weren't sure when January is.
That's how much of a giver you are.
So, sorry, Kay, back to you. We have a special deal price-wise as well.
That's right. This is where I should start with like $10,000.
Yeah.
And then go down to 5 and then slash that out. But we're not going to do that because it's only $97. $97 to get 2 trainings, live trainings, which will, of course, be providing recordings after that. The full KLT training, everything you see here.
And do you know, I have to say, I'm not just saying this either. I'm actually super excited about doing these trainings with you in January. Me and Kevin have been speaking about these for the last, 2 months or so, the stuff that we're going to share, the stuff that we've implemented. I'm actually really just excited to do these. It'll be a great start to 2013. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this. So, and if I'm seeing some say, how do we order? So listen, this is what we're going to do. Let's go, in a second we'll go back to the webinar. We want to carry on, want to grab somebody live. But if you're interested in this, go to, you can see the link at the bottom of the slide here on your screen, chrisfarrell.com/KLT. chrisfarrell.com/KLT. It stands for Know, Like and Trust. You'll find a page there with some more details, just basically reiterating what Kevin has mentioned, and you can purchase for $97, and you'll get instant access to the membership site area that we just saw a second ago, so you can start the training instantly in there, and then these 2 exclusive webinars from Kevin and I will be in January. We're not sure the exact dates. If perchance you can't make one of them, don't worry, we will record that and make sure you get the recording, but the recording will only be for those that actually purchase this product. So chrisfarrell.com/KLT is where you would need to go, and we're going to keep that web page up for the next probably week or so. I'm seeing a few questions about that, so if you're interested. And also, let me just wrap this up by saying, if you're not, it's totally fine. It really is. You know, we're not trying to. We're really not trying to galvanize. There's nothing worse. We have this strange dilemma of often we get asked for more training, and most of my webinars I don't mention a product to sell, and believe it or not, I get some that are actually quite frustrated, saying, "Well, why couldn't we make a further purchase?" So this is for those. If you have $97 spare, and this is something you'd like to learn more about, then we would be thrilled to work with you on it. So chrisfarrell.com/KLT. Kay, back to you.
Beautiful. Okay, great. So that is that, and now let's bring it all home here. Let me show you my dog Jesse's
Yes.
KLT message, and again, it's fun, and you'll see how simply this applies.
So what we'll do, we're at 5 minutes past the hour. Let's we'll look at this KLT now, and then we'll take someone live online, and we'll do a live KLT. And
Great.
Don't forget, I'm seeing some questions again about that link. It's www.chrisfarrell.com/KLT. We should have probably put it on the bottom of the slides, but it doesn't matter. So if you want to make a note of that, that's where you need to go to.
Is it? Yeah, it's visible now, right?
It is visible now.
Okay.
I'm not sure if it is as you continue, but that's no real problem.
Yeah, I do put it again at the end.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
Sure. So I just didn't want it to interrupt Jessie. You know, she gets upset. She doesn't. All right. So here's Jessie the dog's KLT. Hi, I'm Jessie. I'm a 1-year-old miniature beagle from Florida, and this is my family. When I first moved in with them, I struggled terribly with intramural bladder alleviation, or IBA, or what humans call peeing in the house. Every time this would happen, the humans, especially the tall, bald one, would get weird looks on their faces and yell things like, "No, no, no, Jessie!" It was happening so often, it seemed like they had changed my name to "Damn Dog." All I knew was what made me feel really good was clearly upsetting the humans. Something needed to change. Then I discovered a really simple trick. I can do whenever I feel an IBA coming on that magically causes the front door to open and gets me a free walk outside. Now I never have accidents anymore. Plus, I get more walks. And the humans never freak out and yell strange words at me anymore. To discover how you can learn the same simple trick in as little as 1 day, just tap on the button marked "Show me your trick," and you'll get free instant access to my special report, How to End IBA Accidents Forever and Double Your Walks Overnight.
This is great.
I'll smell you there.
Is this something you actually used?
I have not yet, but I'll tell you what. When people see this, they remember it and everybody has asked me, when are you going to actually launch that as a product?
Do you know what I enjoyed about that? As you were going through that, and I'm sure many on this webinar were as well, I was actually looking at my notes here of identity, struggle, discovery, result, and seeing which words fitted into each segment. Mm-hmm. And I saw the discovery, and then I thought, okay, the result's coming next, and boom, there was the result.
Yeah.
And wow, that's great. Good old Jessie.
Yep. She's going to be rich someday. So it's that simple. And so easy my dog can do it. Now, if we've got somebody live, what I'd love to do, there's the link again, by the way, at the bottom. The offer's live right now, chrisfarrell.com/KLT.
By the way, there are 2 R's and 2 L's in Farrell. I'm seeing a few questions saying it's not working, but they're spelling my name with 1 R. I should have had an easier to spell name. I apologize. Chris Farrell, 2 R's, 2 L's, .com/KLT. Know, like, trust. That's what the KLT stands for.
Yeah.
So, in fact, I'm going to ask Jeff and Greg, who are moderating, if you'd be so kind, gentlemen, maybe you could post that link in the question chat. I'm seeing a few ask for that. Then I think I'm correct in saying everybody will be able to see it if you're interested in the chat window. So Greg or Jeff, maybe you'd be so kind to do that. So Kate, what are we looking at now on the screen?
So this is the formula, and what I'd love to do is bring somebody on and sort of talk them through quickly this formula and help them create live on air their own KLT message.
Okay, so we're at 9 minutes past the hour. Let's, just so you can plan your day, I suspect we're going to be about another 10 minutes or so. And then I'm going to bring Jeff and Greg on very quickly at the end to see if we have any commonly asked questions. I'm just going to throw them at you, Kay. So let's see how that goes. So let me firstly see if I can, now as a presenter, I'm not sure whether I can, let me see if Jeff is there, Jeff the web guy, Jeff Hope. I'm not sure whether I can unmute you, Jeff, as I'm not the presenter for the moment, but I'll tell you what, Kevin, I think I need to become the presenter just for a second.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
If that's no trouble.
Hi, Chris.
Oh, no, actually.
I'm here.
No,
can you hear me?
Yeah, we can, Jeff. Sorry. So, Kevin, forget that. Fabulous, Jeff. So, Jeff is on live. Let's say hi to Jeff in the questions window. Hi, Jeff. Hello, hello, hello. How's it been going, Jeff? Have you been fielding? I've seen lots of questions scrolling through.
Lots and lots of questions, Chris and Kevin.
Wonderful.
Greg has highlighted a few of them for me here. I'm not sure if he can.
Well, I'll tell you what we'll do. Before we do the questions, do you know if we've managed to find someone? I can see lots of people saying, pick me, someone that might be prepared to come on live.
This is one of those where we really just, you know, there can only be one selection. It would be great to pick everyone. Greg and I discussed it, and we think that maybe we could bring on Dino Fulton.
Dino. I mentioned Dino earlier. Right. So, Dino, and my apologies if we're not picking you. I'm going to scroll down here and find Dino. And then we're going to unmute you in a second, Dino, and you'll be live with the world-famous Kevin Rogers. So, Jeff, thank you ever so much for doing that. Thank you, Greg, as well. Sure. Thank you, sir. I'm now going to unmute Dino. Dino, can you hear me, young man? I'll take that as a no.
You got to make sure you're not muted on your end there, Dino.
Can you hear me, Dino?
Dino, can you hear me? Sounds like the Who song.
Hello?
Can you
hear me?
Can.
There he is.
Dino!
Yes.
Yay!
Hello.
We're putting the band
Hello,
back together.
Kevin.
How are you, Dino?
Hello, Kevin.
How are you, my
I am
friend?
well. Thank you.
This is super nice to hear you, Dino. Now, firstly,
Hello,
Dino,
Kevin.
where are you, Dino? Where are you in the world, young man?
Well, right now I'm driving an 18-wheeler, and I am in Kansas City, Missouri.
Wow, in Kansas City, Missouri.
Wow.
But I'm from Ontario, California.
Well, Dino, we appreciate your time very, very much with a few weeks ago to Christmas, and it's super nice hearing you. I know we've communicated before, you and I, so it's very nice to actually hear your voice, you great man.
Yes. We
And-
met at Sam.
Yes, I
Sam
remember
too.
clearly back in Utah, in Salt Lake.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
I
So,
remember.
Dino, I'm going to hand you over to Kevin. So you've seen Kevin speak, haven't you, Dino?
Yes, sir.
Did you see him when he was ripping into me and doing his Chris Farrell impressions from stage?
Sounds just like you.
So, Dino, let me hand you over to Kevin, and Kevin, if you want to take it from here, and let's do a live KRT, and I'm fascinated to hear how this is actually going to play out. So, Kevin,
too.
meet Dino.
Hey, Dino. Good to talk to you, my friend. So I just want to make sure everybody can see okay. I've now switched over to Word so that I can type in real time here. Is this okay for everybody?
If you could just type in the question window, if you can see Kevin's Word document. Yes, we're getting loads of yeses. Yep, all good, Kevin. I can see it as well, so thank you.
Okay, great. Okay, Dino, tell me, just to start with, well, just quickly tell me what your product is. Let's start from the bottom.
Well, my product is showing people how to overcome diabetes, lower their blood sugar level like I have
Nice.
I did in 21 days.
Excellent. Okay, great. So, all right. And this is from personal experience, so that's great. So, hi, I'm Dino, is it Fulton?
T-O-N. Yes.
Okay, let's tell people a little bit about who you are. Should we say you're a long-distance truck driver?
Over the road?
Over the road?
Over the road truck driver.
Alrighty.
Drive all across the U.S.
Wow.
And you said you were from Ontario, California?
Yes, sir.
Alrighty. Okay, for years I struggled with what?
Well, I was I had lost 18 pounds over a 6-month period of time. I had sores on my body that wasn't healing properly. I knew something was wrong. I went to the doctor, and he checked my blood sugar, and it was 380, my blood sugar level.
Wow.
And he said, you have type 2 diabetes. And basically he said, take this insulin, take this medicine, and come back and see me in 3 weeks.
Okay. I can relate to this in a frightening way, but I'm not going to interrupt you. Okay, so let me just round out that part. Let me just think for just a second. I'll keep it as simple as possible. So basically, I mean, the simplest way to say this is you struggled with let's just say I struggled.
Tell you what, Kev, I'll let you do that. You just think for a second because I appreciate it's very difficult kind of thinking out loud and typing live as well. So Kevin is doing this, live in real time.
And I had no idea what was wrong with me.
When was this, Dino?
This was after Sam.
The two events weren't linked, were they?
No. No, Sam didn't make me sick.
Do you feel better now, Dino?
Absolutely. I am. I have perfect health, vibrant.
Gosh.
I'm walking every day, getting out of the truck, walking, and eating healthier. Never felt better.
There's a great movie. I don't like the title particularly. It's called Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. Have you heard of this film?
No, sir.
Oh, Dino, honestly, it's incredible. Absolutely incredible. It's about, funnily enough, a truck driver. So I think you will really relate. And it's so emotional. It'll have you in tears. I'm seeing some comments here from Nats and a few others saying it's an awesome movie. Isn't it incredible? And there's a tangent halfway through, I won't spoil it for you, that you do not see coming. Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. It's one of my favorite films of last year. So, and it's all about your subject matter, and it's so inspiring and so emotional and tear-jerking. You'll absolutely love it. So if you can, Dino, check it out. Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. It's very, very good.
It's not a YouTube video. It's a full-blown movie.
It's a full-blown movie, yeah. So I think Netflix have got it. Although, funnily enough, I'm seeing some full-blown movies on YouTube. I saw Blair Witch Project, the original, the full-blown movie was on YouTube, which is incredible. Mike very kindly is saying in the chat window, it's free on Hulu.com. Thank you, Mike. Mike Griffin. Thank you, sir. So if you go to Hulu.com, you can get that.
Thank you for that filler, Chris. Yes. That was wonderful.
My pleasure.
Right.
It's okay.
Dino, tell me now, describe what you discovered that led to your result.
Well, I, of course, being scared and afraid myself, Merlinda, my wife, I just started researching on the internet. I, got on Google and thought, what can I do to eliminate this? And that's when I started discovering that there was a lot of natural solutions out there.
Were there adverse side effects to the way I phrased it is the doctor gave me the equivalent of 2 aspirin and said to call him next month. I mean, so I'm assuming the pills he gave you didn't work at all, or is it that you just didn't want to be on those pills?
I didn't want to be on those pills, and plus, being self-employed, and not having any health insurance, I couldn't see myself spending the extra money, so I was looking for, a cheaper way out, I guess.
Sure.
Without dying, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pain, the whole death thing, isn't it?
It really
it's just inconvenient.
Day.
It really does. Have you tried to go like shopping to Ralph's after you died? It's just a pain.
My wife and my 4 daughters would have been really upset.
I bet they would have been.
Yeah.
I would have died.
This is so fascinating.
Okay.
By the way, I'm just...
So then you discover...
Sorry, Kevin, after you.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dino. So you tell me again. You discovered. We have to put it in a sort of a simple context here. A new way of eating, a natural solution. Did you start taking supplements? What was it?
A natural solution. Just found online that there was a lot of different a natural way to go about it, eating healthier, and that's when I started. That's what I started doing. And so in 21 days, I went back to the doctor, and he said I was fine. My blood sugar levels were normal, and I was in good health.
Wow, that's going to be that 21 days thing. I suspect would be the discovery.
That's the result, actually.
Is that the result? You see, I'm learning as well, ladies and gentlemen.
Discovered a secret to avoiding foods that, let's say, the surprising foods. Because we always need a little curiosity.
Dino, don't you find, while Kevin's doing this, don't you find the power of words is quite incredible? Just kind of once we understand this formula, being able to apply it. Did it kind of amaze you as much as it amazed me when I discovered these 4 steps to writing and communicating powerfully?
It's very fascinating.
It really is
very fascinating, the power of words.
There's a great quote by Jim Rohn, who's one of my mentors, who says, "Never be lazy with your language." And that's always resonated with me. It's easy, isn't it, to kind of be lazy with our language, but if we just understand these 4 steps, then actually allows us to create. And I use this all the time in my videos. I will start with an identity, hello, it's Chris Farrell here. A struggle, if you have some information overload or something that I'm teaching that struggled, then I discovered how to do it, and then the result is, and I'd like to give you this free course, click below. And literally having that template allows me to make videos in 1 take, in 10 minutes, and it allows me to get so much more done in my day.
Okay. So since...
I'll tell you what, Kevin, while you do that, let me just remind, because I'm seeing some more questions about the offer that we have. Again, only if you're interested in working with Kevin and I in January. You'll get exclusive access to that members-only website called 60-Second Sales Hook, plus this access to these two live webinars that we'll be hosting in January, where we'll really be kind of rolling up our sleeves and digging down deeper. It's only $97 if you're interested. You certainly don't have to. You can just, apply what we're going through right now. But if you'd like more information, if you go to chrisfarrell.com/KLT, chrisfarrell.com/KLT. Dino, we're actually getting lots of comments about you personally saying you sound a very nice guy. So pleased to hear that you are now well, says Kate Robinson. Thank you, Kate.
Okay.
Okay, Kev, back to you.
All right. So after making these small changes, here's what we have so far. Hi, I'm Dino Fulton. Hi, I'm Dino Fulton. I'm an over-the-road truck driver from Ontario, California. For years, I struggled with extremely high blood sugar and was finally diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. The doctor gave me the equivalent of 2 aspirin and said to call him next month. The pills, while ineffective, were also very expensive. Then I discovered the secret to avoiding the surprising foods that raise your blood sugar and keep most people relying on expensive prescription drugs for life. After making these small changes to my diet, I was able to stabilize my blood sugar in just 21 days. And now, so of course this is a little clunky, and I would polish it from here, but just to show you. Tell me again, what are the benefits of, aside of stabilizing your blood sugar, what has that meant? You said you've lost weight, you feel obviously better physically. Dino, you still there?
He's speechless. Have we lost you, Dino? Are you there, young man? Let me just quickly check. Okay, for some reason he had turned, we accidentally muted him, I think. Dino, are you there still, sir?
Well, one big thing is that I was having to stop to urinate every 30 minutes while driving the truck, and that was so dangerous. So, of course, I didn't have to run to the bathroom anymore. When I was watching a movie with the kids, I didn't have to get up and, every 30 minutes and go to the bathroom. So all of that, stabilized. I had incessant thirst. I could not. I drunk everything there was in sight, but was going to the bathroom every 30 minutes. So all of that stabilized.
Okay.
I felt like I got my life back.
Yeah,
Do you have your own site, Dino, talking about this?
I am working on one right now.
Okay. Well, if you're working on one right now, you should. We'll send this to you, because this honestly, this would, if you went to get a copywriter to write this, they'd charge you $1,000 just to write this.
$40,000.
A little bit more for that, but not much.
But this will really help, just with your wording, or
get a bill in the mail for $40,000.
I'm trying not to be a perfectionist
You see, this is Kevin's wonderful. Kevin will spend hours on getting someone's copy right, and I appreciate, Kay, that we're throwing you a curveball here. But let's give it 2 more minutes, and then let's wrap it up, just so everyone can get back to their day. And what we will do is, I'm seeing some questions as well. I'm just going to pad while Kevin talks. It's difficult to type while talking, so feel free to interrupt me, Kevin, when you're ready to continue. But we will. We are recording this webinar. I'm seeing lots of questions about this. So if you'd like to review this, if you have to jump off, if you have to leave now, we will be sending out the recording later today. So don't worry if you have to jump off and do your Christmas shopping, or the kids need picking up from soccer practice, or you've got to walk the dogs. And by the way, what we're doing here is we're showing you a formula that can be used for a sales page if you're selling something, or if you want to collect opt-ins or email addresses to build your list, which is vitally important. Exactly the same works. You identify yourself, you mention a struggle, you mention a discovery, then a result, and then the call to action would be sign up for more information. You can use this just for words on the sales page or an opt-in page. You can use this as a script for a video. And what is fascinating about this is when you understand these 4 steps, and I say I learned this a couple of years ago, and it changed everything. You will then see this in multi-million-dollar advertising campaigns, and good marketers online will have these same 4 steps in their videos as well. And you'll see in some of my videos, you will see me say, "Hi, it's Chris Farrell here." I'll mention a struggle, I'll mention a discovery, I will then have a result, and you'll think, "Gosh, he's using the KLT formula." And yes, I am, because it works.
Yeah, your secret's out.
Yes, it is.
All right, I have finished.
Hooray!
Let's hear Dino's full. Again, I will polish this and send it to you, Dino, but let's just see what we got in just about, 5 minutes of talking here. Hi, I'm Dino Fulton. I'm an over-the-road truck driver from Ontario, California. For years, I struggled with extremely high blood sugar and was finally diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. I suffered dangerous weight loss and the embarrassing need to urinate constantly. The doctor gave me the equivalent of 2 aspirin and said to call him next month. The pills, while ineffective, were also very expensive. Then I discovered the secret to avoiding the surprising foods that raise your blood sugar and keep most people relying on expensive prescription drugs for life. After making these small changes to my diet, I was able to stabilize my blood sugar in just 21 days. I feel fantastic, and my diabetes has virtually disappeared. To learn exactly how I did this and how you can do the same, enter your best email address below, and you'll get instant free access to my special report, How to Cure Type 2 Diabetes Naturally in 21 Days. I'll see you there.
Awesome.
Wow, Kevin. I am really seriously impressed. That is, and imagine if we're sending, if we're sending traffic to our site that is interested in this subject matter, and that's incidentally one of the things Kevin and I will be covering in this offer we have for you, how to get targeted traffic to your squeeze page in this case. Do you think at least some of that traffic would be interested in this because they are warm traffic? They're interested in the subject matter in the first place. Kevin, I have to say, I think we should all type in the question window. I'm going to do this myself. Bravo, Mr. Rogers. Bravo. In 5 minutes, that would have taken me, before I understood this formula, that would have taken me weeks, if not longer, of sweating and struggling and testing and tweaking. And it's just real. You trust the person. It's very, very powerful. What do you think, Dino?
That is awesome. Thank you so
Isn't
much.
that amazing?
That is,
My pleasure.
It kept me up at night trying to figure out what to write.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. I tell you, there's nothing worse than that blinking cursor on a blank word page, isn't it? I mean, it just brings back all of our fears about writing and who we are. When you have a formula and you just go, all right, literally,
yes.
You watched me. All I did was fill in the blanks.
I know.
The information. Right. This is the thing I love about this the most, Chris, is that, like I said, there's no writing to this at all. It's just taking the information that you already have inside your head and presenting it in the proper format, and presto, you've got a sales hook.
Boy, wow. Rogers for president.
No,
Dino, thank you ever so much, Dino, for being our wonderful guinea pig, and I'm thrilled that it's been that your health has improved dramatically since these changes. Yes. So super to speak to you again, Dino, and hope to see you again soon.
And I'll be vibrant and healthy when I see you at SAM 3.
Oh, can't wait, brother. Thank you, Dino. And Dino, if you could leave us your email address, maybe you could just put it in the chat window. We will email this out to you. And I look at Kevin, I can see he's even making changes right now. So that's terrific. So listen, ladies and gentlemen, let's wrap up. I'd just like to say thank you ever so much to Kevin for joining us on this webinar today, because I said this at the very beginning, but this formula is something that I learned myself, applied myself, and when I applied it, did see immediate results. And the great thing about it is it's just you being you. I used that example earlier of Julie, who's 50, who's divorced with 3 kids. People buy in to people. They really do. And then once I agree at first, there might be for some, and I had that slight fear of, gosh, I have to reveal a little bit about myself. Well, yes, that's what business is about these days. That's where business is going. And if that is something that you're not comfortable with, we respect that, but then this business is probably not for you. But if you're comfortable revealing a few little key elements, it makes you so much more of a three-dimensional person, and the results really can be life-changing. And we would welcome the opportunity, if you would like to take this further. It's only optional. You can certainly apply what Kevin and I have covered in this webinar for free, and that would be terrific. But if you'd like to spend a bit more time personally with Kevin and I for only $97, then if you go to chrisfarrell.com/KLT, that stands for No, Like, and Trust, and then you'll find the details of what we're talking about. But to quickly recap, it's access to a membership site called the 60-second sales hook that we looked at earlier, which has got all this KLT training that we've really gone through in this webinar in it, spread out a little bit more. And then also, as an additional bonus, 2 live webinars with Kevin and I, and maybe Jesse, who knows if we're lucky. And they'll be taking place in January. So chrisfarrell.com/KLT. I'm going to quickly ask Greg and Jeff if they've got a couple of minutes to maybe jump on and just see if there's any commonly asked questions. I am aware of everyone's time. If you have to disappear, ladies and gentlemen, feel free. You're not going to miss anything now. We're just going to quickly wrap up. If you are disappearing, thank you very much for your time. It's been, as always, just terrific, and I hope you've enjoyed this. So if you have to disappear now, that's absolutely fine. But what we'll do, for those, if you want to stick around, we'll just spend a few more minutes, literally 2-3 more minutes, speaking to Jeff and Greg, who'll be moderating behind the scenes. Greg and Jeff, can you hear us, gentlemen?
Yes.
Ah, Mr. Ray, Greg Ray. Thank you for moderating,
Good job,
Greg.
gentlemen.
Thank you, sir. Well, it's such a fascinating subject matter. Greg, I'm just curious to know, just while we have Kevin here, if there's sort of an overriding, commonly asked question that you feel may be beneficial to share, or at least throw at Kevin before we disappear.
Yes, there are actually a couple that have come up a few times in the questions. The first one, I think it was first placed by Carl Cochran, who said, does this formula work across all cultures across the world, for example, in the USA, Europe, New Zealand?
Nice question.
Great question. And I would say absolutely yes, because it's story at the end of the day. We're telling people a story, and that is the universal language. Story and laughter. You know, when they unearth an ancient, society, and they start digging around caves, what do they always find? They find paintings and etchings, and once they decipher them, they realize that these are people telling stories about harvests that are coming, and they're basically reporting news and sharing details of their lives, their history. So storytelling is at the heart of all communication, so this absolutely works across every culture.
And I would add to that, absolutely. It is why we drew on cave walls years ago. It is why we sat around the campfire and told stories. It is why social media is basically the modern version of writing on cave walls and sitting around campfires. It is story. So, yes, it's universal. Mr. Ray.
Yes.
Back to you, sir.
So the next one would be, who is the offer for? And the question is, a couple of questions that we've seen like this are geared around, is it people for existing lists, people with affiliates, product owners, various? Good
question. So who would you say would be most beneficial for, Kevin?
Well, once again, I tell you, we just spoke to Dino, who doesn't yet have a product, but knows exactly what his story is and what it is he wanted to share with people, right? So it can be someone who's absolutely at the beginning stages, or so it can be someone who has, several existing products. And, again, you don't have to use this formula to tell your own story. Let's say you want to get into affiliate marketing, or you currently have products that you promote as an affiliate. Well, any good product should have some testimonials, and all you have to do is take the details of that testimony and apply this formula to it, and now you're taking that testimonial to a whole new level and using this. You could use that on a sales page or a landing page, and I promise you that will convert higher than what most marketers put out for you to promote with. So even if you don't have a product or not even really interested in presenting your own story, you can use this to better promote other people's products.
And Suzanne Bradshaw, I'm just seeing, has asked a great question. She says, Kevin, is this how many marketers write their sales pages? Do they kind of stick with this sort of this KLT formula?
It's certainly one aspect of it. You know, there's you can get as deep as you want with the formulas, but I'll tell you one thing I use this for, even for my $40,000 product launch scenarios. I'll sit and use this formula to see how well do I know the person I'm writing for, how well do I know the audience. It's a great sort of head check on where you are with the product and if you really understand the needs of the market. If you can easily fill this out, then you're pretty much there, and it's time to move on to the next phase. If you find that you're struggling to fill in, you know, the answers to these 4 simple questions, then you might have a little more research to do, and you might want to really, you know, think about if it's the perfect product for you. And who you are and what's going to resonate the most with people. So it is a great template for a lot of different marketing and a lot of stages of marketing.
I also like to quickly add, we're getting quite a few comments about Dino and Mark Yabsley. Hope I pronounced your last name correct, Mark. Kind of sums up what we're seeing a few comments about, saying, Mark's saying that he has diabetes and he would like to buy Dino's product. Wow. So that's terrific. So Dino, I hope you're still here. Let me check if Dino's still here. Yes, he is. Dino, we're going to email you over this copy that will save you time and money. And Mark, that's very gracious of you to say, you know, you have diabetes, you'd be interested. Again, isn't that interesting? It's because what's happened here, Dino suddenly has become a real person. He's relatable, he's real. It's just coincidence I happen to have met Dino at an event, and so has Kevin, but he's suddenly 3-dimensional, and that his story is resonating just with us. I don't have diabetes and it's resonating with me. Mark and a few others say it's really resonating with him. This is just from a webinar, something we did in 5 minutes. Imagine you apply this to an affiliate product or your own product or your own business. The results can really be quite staggering. Greg and Jeff, I'm going to wrap up because I'm aware of everyone's time. Thank you so much, Greg. Thank you, Jeff, for working super crazily behind the scenes. I really do appreciate your time ever so much. Thank you, gentlemen. We're getting lots of comments saying thank you, Greg, and thank you, Jeff, as well. So thank you, guys.
Yes, thank you. Thank you from me.
Kev, final word. Anything you'd like to quickly add? Then we'll wrap up for today.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you once again. Humbled and honored to be here with you today. Thank you, everybody, for your time. The reason I love this KLT formula is because it works for everybody every time. I've yet to be challenged with somebody's scenario or business or product or service that I could not make this formula work for. And what else is great is that once you learn it as I presented it to you today, you'll begin to see how other people can add a little twist to it and make it even more interesting. For instance, that Ford commercial that I'll show you in the members area puts a little, they switch the order. That Weight Watchers commercial saves result as a cliffhanger because we're waiting to see if Jessica Simpson is going to succeed in losing the weight.
Yes, that's true.
Right? So
yeah, totally.
There's all kinds of really cool things you can do once you know this formula. It's not one-dimensional at all. So I'm thrilled to help anybody with it. Any of the members who come in, please post them in that KLT feedback section. I love this stuff because it's simple and it really works. That's the best thing about it.
And thank you, everyone, for your time. I'm just looking at some of the comments here. Scott Brandon, thank you, mate. Thank you, Scott. And Joanne and Stevie Mays, some really, really very, very kind comments. So I hope you found this interesting. And final word is to say thank you to Kevin Rogers, our special guest, for joining us today. Can we just type in thank you maybe to Kevin for giving up his time this afternoon from his family and his 2 kids and his dog Jessie. So, Kate, I appreciate your time very, very much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. And this webinar has been recorded. If you'd like to view the recording, I will email it out to you within a couple of hours. Thank you ever so much, ladies and gentlemen, for your time. It really has been a pleasure spending this Saturday afternoon here in Los Angeles with you. Wherever you are in the world, whatever your time zone is, I appreciate the time that you've given us. Have a terrific week. I will speak with you very soon. This is Farrell and Rogers signing out for now on behalf of Jeff Hope and Greg Ray moderating as well. Thank you for joining us. Have a splendid rest of your weekend. All the best. Take care. Bye-bye.